Year One Muscle Car Parts are my sponsors. I've purchased thousands of dollars worth of parts from them since I bought my Project Dodge Charger, and you can enjoy the same 20% discount I receive off of most of the 600,000 parts they're selling by using the promo code TORQUE, T-O-R-Q-U-E. Simply visit year1.com because this offer will not last forever. So a lot of you guys know back in the 80s and 90s you could pick up a running and driving Dodge Charger really cheap. Like other muscle cars, they'd been considered old and passé. High fuel consumption and high insurance groups had really relegated muscle cars to a bygone era. Makes me wish I had a time machine so I could go back and rescue a bunch. But unfortunately no one has a time machine. But what I've got for you now is an interview with a great fella in Holland who I met recently. And long before anyone really sussed that these cars are going to go up in value, he started importing them to Europe and finding homes for over 300 to people like me, Europeans who really adore these vehicles. He's well worth listening to. Hopefully you know by now that my buddy Sam put a 1970 Dodge Charger body on a Carl Edwards NASCAR chassis to create the NASCharger, which he later sold to a fella in Austria. But in 2020, a guy in Spain was very impressed with Sam's creation and commissioned him to build another one. So Sam needed a 70 Charger quickly. And at this time the world was in a state of flux because of the COVID pandemic, so Sam couldn't ship cars easily across the Atlantic. Instead, Sam bought a 70 Charger project car from a guy in the Netherlands, only to discover the vehicle was too far gone to be of any use after it had been delivered to the UK.
This car was fitted with the super rare mono individual wiper. Secondary one was extra if you wanted to pay for it. This car comes with factory air conditioning, but with the secondary air duct in the windscreen that allows you not only to slice your fingers, but actually interferes with the visual aspect of driving. The chrome mirror is in fabulous conditions with acne in certain areas. If you get a Sharpie and you carry out mirror ... yes, you can connect all these blisters up and it perfectly forms a picture of me. An idiot buying a car they shouldn't have bought. The doors don't open at all.
The good guy in the Netherlands agreed to take the car back and offered Sam a better 70 Charger if he upped his cash. So that's what Sam decided to do, and that meant a quick trip under the English Channel on the Eurostar to France, a drive north through Belgium, and a rendezvous in a small Dutch town not far from the German border, all done between the first two UK lockdowns. I realised this Dutchman was a guy called John, a fella I had called years ago about a Charger I was interested in. There was no time for an interview as we were on a very tight schedule, but John and I stayed in contact so I could hopefully one day do an interview about how he stumbled upon a fantastic way to make a great living dealing in Chargers and other American vehicles almost by accident.
I'm a car enthusiastic from 11 years old. And what I had is Vauxhalls and Opels and all the regular car that normal young boys have. And then I thought I want to buy a Corvette, but I didn't have the money to buy a restored one. So I bought a project, a 1975 Corvette Stingray, and I restored it myself. And that's why my dedication to American cars started. So I restored it. Then after I restored it, I bought a Chevy 3100 Chevy pickup truck, and I restored that one. I sold it, I think, 4 years ago. So I had it for 20 plus years. And in 1989, I think, I bought a charger in San Diego, and that was the first charger I bought. It was the gold CTA charger, and I thought I imported it. I'm gonna restore it. I'm gonna drive it. But as you know, a lot of chargers are rust buckets, and this one wasn't any different. So it came over here, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to restore this one because it's in too bad shape for me with minimal equipment to restore it. So I put it was before internet went big, so I put an ad in the local newspaper, and I had, I think the same day, 150 phone calls because everybody wants to buy a charger. And I didn't know it was that popular because, to be honest, I'm a Chevy guy. So I thought, oh, that might be a good thing to buy another one. And that's the reason why it started, just because I bought a lemon. Now I sold hundreds of chargers. In 2002, I think I bought the first 10 chargers. And yeah, that's when the business started. The dollar was the euro was very strong against the dollar, so it was 150. So if you can buy a charger for like $6,000 back in the day, you had a running and driving charger. You could drive it home basically from the harbor.
Wow.
If you buy it for $6,000, you had it for 6,000 euros here, included shipment. So that's in pounds. Those days it was 4,500 pounds. You had a running and driving 68 charger.
Wow.
And now you buy a rust bucket that you have to completely do a rotatory restoration on, and you pay 12 to 16,000 pounds. So the condition is way worse, and the prices are out of the roof.
Way higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, I have my own theory. My theory is that these cars were not really worth that much in the early 80s, late 70s. Then the TV show, The Dukes of Hazzard comes, the General Lee is a trendy car. The cars become popular with the high school kids. A lot of people our age in America had Chargers, Roadrunners, Coronets, as high school cars. And my theory is, when they got older, they missed the muscle cars and they wanted them back. Especially the Chargers, because of the Dukes of Hazzard, the Dukes of Hazzard movie, and then, of course, with Fast and Furious, with Dom's Charger. That's my theory. Does that work with you?
That works with me, because when I was young, you had only 3 TV channels. And on one of them, they broadcast the Dukes of Hazzard. So when I had the money to buy a project charger, I wanted to make it into a General Lee. So, and like people from our age, everybody wants a charger, because that's the American one muscle car comparing to the Corvette.
But originally, you are a Corvette man.
Absolutely. I still am. But I sold way more Chargers than Corvettes.
Behind you is the General Lee, another clone. But did you do this one yourself? I don't think you did, right?
No. I bought it as a yellow, unrestored project, but it was in top condition. It had some roof damage, but that was it. There was no rust. It had original floors, but the guy who bought it, he bought it in 1981 as a project, and he thought, one day I will be restoring it, as so many other Chargers. And I bought it in 2014, and I brought it to somebody who restored Chargers for me in the past, and he owed me some money. So that's the reason why I have a General Lee. It was not in this condition when it came here because it was restored for the photo. And I put a 440 in it. I did some new upholstery. The clear coat was done here. The wheels were the original, and the original factor wheels are on it now that they were in the series. So, but now it's a 100% generally clone.
So who is the characteristic typical buyer then? Is it like people like me and you, Europeans who saw the car on TV? Or are they Americans who now live in Europe?
It depends on the year. If you have a 68 Charger, most people are 60 or 60 plus. If you have a 69 Charger, it's generally generation. So they buy a 69. They don't turn it into a General Lee, but they want a 69 because of the split grille in the front. And the younger people, from 18 till 34, they buy Dom's Charger, a 1970 Charger.
They are the ones that like Fast and Furious, those younger ones.
Yeah, correct. And in America, it must be matching numbers, and it must be an RT440. But in Europe, it doesn't matter. Even when it's slant 6, they want a Charger for the model of the car, not for the performance.
Isn't it funny? I agree with you. People in America seem to care a lot more about the numbers matching, especially in the auctions.
Yeah.
But for me, I bought a 70 Charger and I was really pleased it had a 440. I didn't care that the numbers didn't match. And my car, like most Chargers, was a 318. And people forget, most Chargers were a 318 because it was the more economical engine. So few were the 440. Yeah. I wonder, like, do you keep in contact with the people you sell the cars to, so you see what they do with them? Or do you think they're basically, in every city in Europe, there's a couple of Chargers in a garage with one guy working really slowly to restore the car?
I think your last option, because I sold maybe 300 or more Chargers in the last 20 years. And I think from all the Chargers I sold, there are 25, maybe 30 restored and on the road. The rest is in a barn somewhere. And one day when I have my pension, I will start to restore it. That's a good thing, but people from 40, they have to wait 25 years to restore it. So, and there might be more, but I always tell people, send me a photo when it's restored. And I have like 20 or 30 photos max.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is something we spoke about this morning on the phone briefly, because I was interested in the turnaround time from when somebody in Europe gets the car from you and how long it takes for them to get it on the road. And I think you and I were talking, the rich people, they're not really your buyers. Your buyers are more ordinary people who plan to do the cars themselves because they don't have the money for a restorer. Yeah.
Yeah, they are not rich people. They are people just like us with hard-working people, and they have some money to buy a project car, not a finished car, because it's, especially with a Charger, it's way too expensive. So they buy a project and hoping and wanted to restore them themselves, because if you buy a restored one, you have to lay down 50 or 60,000 pounds or dollars. And if you buy a project and you buy a complete project, it's 10 or 12 or 16K. It depends on what you get. And that, for most working people, that's a price they can buy a car, a project car for. So when they have the money and when they have the car, they earn some more money and they buy a fender and they buy a floorboard. And one step at a time, they will restore it like the car they want to have. So I think that's the case, and I think that's the main, that are my main clients, because I sell projects. And I sold restored chargers like the General Lee, maybe 20, and also General Lees. And they are a completely different kind of audience that comes and look at the cars because they have money. And they complain about that the deckles on the side are a little this or that, or it is not the right rim on it. So project people don't complain. They know what they're buying, and that's what I always put in my ad. If you can't weld, don't buy the car.
I remember your adverts. I saw some of your cars a few years ago when I was looking, and I think I even spoke to you on the phone a couple of times.
John wasn't kidding. Sam's first purchase from him was a project only for the bravest or richest restorer. Virtually everything needed replacing, but John still sold it for a profit, same as hundreds of others before it. That's because so many people adore second-gen chargers in Europe and around the world.
The rich people who buy the complete cars and the more normal people who buy the project cars, they all have one thing in common: they love the cars. Can you tell me what it's like to sort of be the Santa Claus that provides the car? You know, you're not giving them away for free, and obviously you need money to live, but you are the dream maker. You make it possible. That must be a nice job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of people, they come here and I do this for a long time, so I know when I see somebody if he buys it or not. And a lot of people, they argue in the car before they come over here. We're gonna do it like this. We're gonna burn the car off to the ground, and then we try to negotiate on the price, of course. Everybody does that. But I know when I see somebody with a sort of a hidden smile comes here at my shop. And so if they tell me, oh, there's a rust spot here, then I tell them, come over here. Here's even a bigger rust spot. And they think, oh, that's strange because it doesn't look like it's a selling point, but it's a selling point because I'm not going to hide anything. And if you restore a car and you buy a project, don't think you're going to drive in 3 months, or you have to have a business with 7 people that work night and day to restore it. And but if I sell a car and the people, when we come to a deal, the people go back and they're going to make a photo because they have to wait 3 or 4 weeks for the car to arrive at their house, and they have some photos to look at.
Yeah.
And that's what I did with the first charger. I even knew where the window sticker was on the photo before it came over here, because like myself and like the people that buy the chargers, they're car enthusiasts, and it's your thing.
These people, they're not in it for the money, they're in it for love, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. Because they're not in it for the money, because when you buy a project, you don't get any money when you restore it like it should be done. If you restore it with a lot of Bondo and you make it a flat black charger, then you can earn some money, because when it runs and drives, it's a 25 to 30K car, even when it's like a centimeter Bondo on it. They buy the car because they love the car, and they restore it, and like I said before, one step at a time. And if you restore a charger, you must be a car enthusiastic, because you get in a lot of problems before it's on the road. And you gotta love cars, and you gotta have, you gotta know what you're doing.
Please click on the subscribe button. It's free to do so and helps us build up our audience. Also, please share this video with your friends on social media, and while you are there, please follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook to get new video alerts and extra content. And remember, check out talkamerican.com and please post a comment underneath this video. We'd really appreciate it. Don't you wish you had that time machine? You could go back and get a running and driving RT in excellent condition, bit worth a fortune now. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please continue to watch, but we'll talk again soon. So bye for now.